Chat room will be open to 6:20. So if you have questions that you would like to ask the candidates during the political forum, please enter them into the chat room. And then at 6:20, it should be cut off. And then at that time, we will review the questions and ask additional questions from the video audience. So let us go ahead and begin. As I mentioned before, my name is Bridget Bauman. Welcome to the San Bernardino Park Association Community Meeting and Political Forum for the District 5 House of Representative candidates. Go to the next, please. Next, please. Okay. Okay. This is San Bernardino Park Associate boundaries of the streets from the east side of Greenfield Road to Strathmoor, between West 7 Mile Road and Northwest James Couzens Freeway. That is between 7 Mile and Greenfield. We would like to know that this barcode that you see on screen on the Zoom meeting is what we do so that folks will know that they can scan the QR code every Monday at 3 p.m. and they will be able to see all the stuff that we post on our weekly email blast that happens in our neighborhood and beyond our neighborhood. Next, please. Okay. Okay, the next one. Okay, I got that one. Hold on. Okay. Seminar, we also want to let you know that we are supported by a lot of local businesses on our boundaries and churches, as well as organization. And again, if you scan the QR code that's shown on the screen now, you will go directly to our business directory so that you'll know exactly who supports us, and we ask you to patronize and to shop at those locations as well as visit the churches. Next, please. Also, will let you know that San Bernardino Park Association now accepts membership dues not only by check and cash, but you can also pay by Cash App or by Zelle. Next, please. Next, please. I want to let everyone know that we have some exciting events going on in our neighborhood. Tomorrow, which is Saturday, June the 13th, we have our final San Bernardino Park Association neighborhood walk. That's going to be located at Calvary Apostolic Church, which is located at 20071 James Cousin Freeway at the corner of Whitcomb and James Cousin. We've done every year we have a walk and we do a series of walks. So this will be the last of 4 walks that we had scheduled this year. Also, tomorrow, right after the walk, we encourage you to check out one of our neighborhood churches who's having a community yard sale from 11 to 3 p.m. That's going to be at People's United Methodist Church, which is located at 19370 Greenfield Road, which is on the corner of Vassar and Greenfield. This community yard sale is open to anybody live in or outside of Detroit. You can welcome to come and check out the bargains. If you want to set up a table there to sell some stuff you want to get out the house, or if you're a vendor want to get to sell or expose what you're doing, or if you want to share information about your organization, you too can participate. The last one to do it out of the 4 weeks that they've been doing this is going to be tomorrow, June the 13th. Next, please. We have a couple more events going on January I believe January the 26th, which is a Friday. One of our other neighborhood churches is going to have a mind and body workshop. They ask you to please bring your mat if you have one, and they'll be trying to help you do some little yoga exercises as well as do a few other things. So that's going to be on June the 26th. We have another community neighbor, which is the Methodist Center. One of the organizations work out of the Methodist Center is called Young Men in Motion, and they have a free diaper drive up distribution, which goes on every fourth Wednesday. out of out of St. Susan's Community Center. And for that event, any events I've mentioned thus far, you can always call us at 313-437-1062 to find out more about these events. Next, please. We have two more other things going on in the neighborhood. We have two free um, summer programs for kids. One is going to be at Detroit Christian Schools, which is one of our other community organizations. That's located at Greenfield and Vassar as well. They have a summer camp for ages kindergarten to 8th. For that event, it starts on June 22nd. To register or for more information, you can call 248 905 3677. Another one is in our neighborhood, is another community business in our neighborhood. That's Learning Links. They have a summer program, summer camp program that is going to start on, I believe, June 29th. Learning Links is located on the corner of Hubble and also on James Cousin Service Drive. Next, please. Okay. Next, we want to let you know that our neighborhood police officer for our neighborhood is Officer Baker. You can reach out to Officer Baker at 313-596-1221. If she's not there, you can always leave a voice message 24/7, and you can contact her anytime you want to have a problem with non-emergent and recurring quality of life issues. Also, I want to mention to you that our 12 precincts has a community meeting every first Thursday of the month at the 12 precincts. So please feel free to attend the community meeting if you have concerns that you want to discuss. Again, everything I mentioned here is you can call us at 313-437-1062, and I'll be happy to provide you the information about these things I mentioned, and also to sign up you up to receive our email blast. Next, please. Now, with that in mind, we're going to go ahead and turn this meeting over to our political forum format, who is going to be taken care of by Maya Anthony, who is the moderator. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it to you, Maya.
Hi, good evening. Thank you so much, Ms. Bridget. We certainly appreciate your service and dedication to our community and our political outreach. Good evening to everyone who has joined us tonight. Thank you for joining the San Bernardo Park Association, or SBPA District 5 Michigan House of Representatives Political Forum. We would like to welcome you to our virtual and in-person forum. My name is Maya Anthony. I am a board member of SBPA, CEO of Zealous Bakery, and a community organizer. I am honored to be back in this beautiful establishment, this beautiful space, the Detroit Coffee Lodge, hosting this event and moderating tonight's conversation. If you have any questions during our discussion, please place them in our chat section, which will close after 6:20 p.m. I will also read from select questions that have previously been submitted via email and from our audience right here at Detroit Coffee Lodge. If you would like to view this forum again, or pass it along to friends and family and constituents, you will be able to find it on the San Bernardo Park Association YouTube channel, along with our other forums and events. Don't forget to subscribe. Next slide, please. Oh, we need our slides. But I'll go, and while you share the screen, Mr. Alvin, because I can also read and let you all know what is going on tonight. Thank you. What is going on tonight? So the floor, thank you so much. The floor will be open to participating candidates for 1-minute introductions as well as their closing remarks. We will then move to submitted questions where they will be given 90 seconds to answer. Should they feel a need to respond to a previous question, that is totally fine, but they still have 90 seconds to rebuttal and answer their question. There will be a timer at the top right corner of your screen. If they go beyond their allotted time, they will be muted by our timekeeper. Candidates will finally have 1 minute for their closing remarks. Next slide, please. Tonight, we are joined by candidates Crystal Bailey and candidate Candace Calloway. Unfortunately, our third candidate, Summermore Crawford, could not be here due to a family situation. We do wish her the best. Thank you all again for joining us. Let's begin. Candidates, you have 1 minute for introductions. We will begin with candidate Crystal Bailey.
Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for having this forum. I'm so thankful for the opportunity to be before you this evening. My name is Crystal Bailey. I am running for State House District 5. This district is a unique district. I am from Northwest Detroit, born and raised, and I went to Henry Ford High School. I even went to Coleman A. Young and J.R. King Elementary School. So I'm rooted in Detroit, and I ran for the same seat 2 years ago on mental health, eradication of gun violence, the school to prison pipeline, and this time I've added 2 more initiatives, which are lowering auto insurance rates and lowering property taxes. I am excited to be here, and I'm looking forward to any other questions. Thank you. I don't see the timer. I don't see the timer.
Yeah, I think that it's gonna go up soon, but we're counting. So you were right on time.
Okay, I can keep going. I just want to know, make sure.
Yeah, I think our timekeeper is getting that ready, but I'm counting in my head. Thank you so much. We will now hear from candidate Candace Calloway.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you to San Bernardo for hosting this forum and making sure that neighbors remain connected and civically engaged. I'm a native Detroiter, born and raised here. I graduated from college, and I still live here as a homeowner in Schaefer 7-8 Lodge. So if you're in Detroit Coffee Lodge, you can probably look out the window and see me waving from my window or see my roof. I've been working hard in my community, feeding seniors with Meals on Wheels, serving our students, building organizations and my own business, and cleaning up in front of my own front door. My entire professional career and personal life have been centered around public service. I'm a former DPSCD educator, a City Year alumni. I tackle issues in our environment and flooding by building rain gardens with the Nature Conservancy. I managed a $120 million budget as a construction coordinator, working on the Joe Louis Greenway and building regional and statewide partnerships with contractors, business owners, state and local agencies. These experiences lead me to believe I'm the best qualified member to be state representative in House District 5. This is very serious to me, and I'm happy to be here to answer questions.
Right on time. Thank you so much. Are you all able to see the timer?
No.
But you saw it when it said time's up, right?
Yes, it makes a little blur.
Well, it'll pop up, and Candace, we're gonna go ahead and stay with you since you are off mute. Our first question, I'm gonna be giving you all questions that were previously submitted before we move on to our current attendees' questions. Our first question for you will be for both of you, but what is your career background and what jobs, a 2-part question, and what jobs have you held or currently hold that lead to the experience that you'll need to take to Lansing as our state representative?
So like I said, my entire professional and personal life have been centered around public service. I'm a former educator. I worked at Thurgood Marshall, working with students. I worked in our environmental conservation world with the Nature Conservancy. And most recently, before I decided to run, I was actually working in construction with the city of Detroit. I believe that it's important to make sure that we are electing representatives who can work across the aisle, who can connect with folks from different backgrounds, folks who may not necessarily look like them or agree with everything, but are willing to put in the work, the service, and the time it takes to get things across the finish line. And those are the qualities that I've possessed in my professional career. I'm a business owner. When the pandemic happened, I went back to school and got licensed as a massage therapist and opened my own business. I also started an organization called the Black Pack in order to get more Black people connected to the outdoors and to employment opportunities in outdoor conservation, and outdoor recreation. And I believe all those things have provided me with a lens where I can see people for who they are, connect with them, talk with them, identify shared goals, and find a way to get the good work done.
Thank you so much. Candidate Bailey, would you like me to repeat that question for you?
Yes, please, and thank you. And then is this lawnmower too loud?
No, I can't even hear it.
Okay.
Okay. What is your career background? What jobs have you held or currently hold that lend to the experience that you'll need to take to Lansing as our state representative?
Well, thank you for that question. It's a great question, by the way. The experience that I have, I'm a 19-year business owner. I started a business out of a hobby. I was producing fashion shows for independent designers that grew into a business. And so we're in 27 cities in 3 countries producing fashion shows for independent designers. And also, I'm a college graduate, and I was elected to the Oak Park School Board to serve as vice president. I've also held positions. 2 years ago, when we worked to have these lines redrawn, and after we won the lawsuit, because that's how we got to where we are today, I resigned from a job that I just had got from the state of Michigan. The state of Michigan hired me to be the assistant payments worker. I worked one day, withdrew, and filed for office and to represent the community. I also was federally contracted to work for the U.S. Department of Education, where I was a research analyst and an interviewer. So I have public trust clearance through the U.S. government, and I continue to serve. And I'm looking forward to serve you as at the state level as our state representative. Thank you. I still don't see anything blinking, but I hope that I'm on target with the time.
I think what's going to happen, candidates, as you move along, if you can't see it up there, there is still a timer that is going to be documenting your time. We'll let you know when the time is up. Right there. So see it? It says time's up. And since I have you here, I'm going to stick with you and now ask you the next question. What distinguishes you from your opponents, and what unique perspective, experience, or skills will you bring to the role?
Well, I'm a mother. I've raised a teenager. I put my child through K through 12 education. So I know the importance of education, as well as being a former vice president of the Board of Education. And I am also, I'm sorry, what was the second part of that question?
What distinguishes you from your opponents, and what unique perspective, experience, or skills will you bring to the role?
Okay, well, I flipped it because that's unique that I am a mother and so on. But yeah, working with, they said they can't hear me. They can't. I'm looking in the chat, said they can't hear me. But
maybe we can just speak up a little bit then.
So you can hear me fine. Okay. So, and then I got involved in politics. I wasn't asked to run for office. My advocacy, being a business owner, I had flexibility with my time, so I volunteered. And when I did my volunteerism, I volunteered with End Gun Violence and became a strong advocate for ending gun violence. I became active in the reforming of the juvenile justice system. I took kids on jail tours to deter them from incarceration. And while doing so, I saw that more than half of the inmates in there appeared to be mentally ill, which is why I decided to run for office. Why are so many people who appear to be in having some type of mental illness incarcerated? And that's when I did my research, saw in the early 90s, the governor at the time closed all the mental health facilities and letting them patients dead, homeless in jail by letting them out on the street. That prompted me to want to get involved. So I ran my very first race was 2018.
That's time.
I think your time is up, but thank you so much, Candidate Bailey. Candidate Calloway,
Yes.
what distinguishes you from your opponents, and what unique perspective, experience, or skills would you bring to the role?
So I pride myself on being well-read, well-informed. I'm a diligent note taker, a diligent reader. I read contracts for my business. I'm a 20-year volunteer at the Detroit Association of Women's Clubs, a nonprofit that I volunteered with. Obviously, running my own organization means that I have to be diligent, pay attention to detail, and in my role, managing budgets and contracts in construction. I've said this before for folks who know me. I refuse to let language in laws or lines in budgets leave communities behind. So it's important that our leadership is taking the time to be meticulous and really pay attention and make sure that community voice is in every layer of what we're putting forth. I won't be jumping into this world blindly. I have a solid relationship with the incumbent who's endorsed my candidacy, and I've partnered already with leadership across the district that will help me be really effective on day one. I've also worked with folks across this state in my various roles. I know I won't only be working with folks who look like me and who think like me, but I understand how to be relatable, how to negotiate, and how to get things across the finish line as part of a team. I don't want to point out what we don't agree on, but I think it's really important when working in Lansing and at the legislative level that we find things that we care about, like our seniors, like our housing, like our students, our healthcare, our costs, and our jobs. All of those things, I believe, make me a unique candidate, give me unique, fresh perspective, and will lend creativity to the world.
Thank you so much, and we're going to stick with you. And I'll direct the next question to you, candidate.
Okay.
Calloway. Describe how you have handled working in a situation or with difficult people, and what did you learn from that?
That's a really good question, and I think really important, especially for a role like this. So like I said before, I've worked in construction. I've been on a number of job sites where I am the only woman, the only Black woman, and the youngest person in the room. But I don't let that stop me. I like to use that as an advantage because it gives me the ability and the interest to learn, to gain new skills, to be in conversation with folks who have different perspectives and experiences than me. And we don't agree on everything. For the most part, I have worked with a lot of white men. When I worked at the Nature Conservancy, it was a statewide organization, the largest environmental conservation organization in the world. And in the state of Michigan, I was the only Black woman working in urban conservation in Detroit, focused on our urban stormwater management, our flooding, building rain gardens and bioretentions. But I didn't let that stop me because I knew that there was a goal that we had in mind. I knew that there was a mission, something we were trying to accomplish, not only for me, but for my neighbors, for our businesses, our churches, our communities. We were trying to solve a problem. So differences have never been one to stop me from doing something. It's why I founded my organization, the Black Pact, to create a community, to get people comfortable, more Black people comfortable with being outside, and then transitioning them through positive experiences into a world where they're working in outdoor recreation, where they're working in urban conservation, and being able to explore those opportunities. So I don't let differences stop me. I think that's what makes our state unique and what makes me unique as a candidate.
Thank you so much. Candidate Bailey, describe how you have handled working in a difficult situation or with difficult people, and what did you learn from that?
Thank you for the question. I am a 19-year business owner, so I've definitely come into some difficult situations, and I've been on multiple boards, from the school board to a Juneteenth committee, from other commissions, and I'm the vice chair of the Behavioral Health Advisory for the state of Michigan. So working collaboratively can sometimes cause some issues. You know, everyone doesn't have the same mindset, and but working through those, we can definitely uh, hear active listening is how you can get things across the board, because a lot of times there's miscommunications, misunderstanding, and different issues. So as long as we can stick to the issues and come to some commonality, and we'll be able to get past it. That's my experience in the past, and once elected, God willing, I get to the state house, I can work with across the line to get issues, get legislation passed by getting 5620 and a governor's signature. Thank you.
Thank you so much. My next question will go to you, Candidate Bailey. If you were given $1 million to put in the community that you serve, what projects would you fund? And how would you allocate or distribute that money?
Okay, thank you for the question.
I know this is a heavy question, so.
Yeah, well, you know, I just stick with my issues and mental health. We're in a crisis. And the Department of Health and Human Service has a budget of $37 billion, and they allocate 1% towards state psychiatric and mental health. So with that $1 million, I would definitely put that towards the mental health crisis that we're living in. It is currently a crisis. We're also in a crisis when it comes to gun violence. So the main thing is to having a safe, and to also make sure that we are capable to live with dignity and being able to function mentally without dealing with the crisis that we're in. So that is how I would allocate the funds. I plan to, once elected, to create a mental health agency that is funded directly from the state. And I believe that would help with criminalizing our people who need rehabilitation rather than putting them in jail or juvenile systems. Thank you.
Thank you. That same question goes to Candace Calloway. If you were given $1 million to put into the community that you serve, what projects would you fund? And how would you allocate or distribute the money? Take your time.
Sure. So for me, I believe that we already have some wonderful organizations in the city of Detroit focused on community violence intervention. I fully support CVI and the organizations that are already doing this work, like the Detroit People, the New Era Detroit, the People's Action. We know that they are working to deter violence. They're working with our young people and our business owners. There was just some recent conversations around our after hours spots that are located just adjacent to some of our neighborhoods. I know I myself am dealing with that issue, but that policy is meant to highlight community-based strategies in partnership with our law enforcement, and our mayor has a new office of neighborhood and community safety. It's meant to reduce our gun violence and support victims and young people who may be at risk. And so for me, with $1 million, I believe that we need to be providing dollars to the organizations who are already doing the work in our community. We don't need to recreate the wheel. We need to find a way to provide funding, either by pursuing new grants or baking it into our state budget in order to support them and uplift them. I also believe that some type of advisory council or commission would be good to help us set measurable goals around community violence intervention, so we know exactly what type of problem we're dealing with and where we're headed in terms of trying to solve it. But for me, the second thing, if I could use the $1 million for something else as well, is to provide more capital funding for small businesses. I live right by the James Couzens Freeway, and while we have some beautiful businesses, one of which you're sitting in now, we need more. And those folks need access to training, to funds and dollars that will help them be relieved from red tape, to scale up paying employees more, to retain them and keep them working in our communities and from our communities. So that's what I would do with $1 million, and the way I'd hold folks accountable with oversight, with advisory councils, and with standardized reporting standards.
Thank you so much. I will stick with you for this next question, candidate Candace. What policies do you propose to improve public school education performance from Detroit Public Schools to Oak Park and Royal Oak Township Schools?
Absolutely. For me, within the first 60 days, I would really like to invest in either studies or research about the benefits of using a weighted school funding formula. So just a little context for folks who may be unfamiliar. Right now, the funding for our schools and our budgets is equalized across our districts, across our schools. But we know that the share of issues is not necessarily equalized. And so we need to be implementing a strategy that will direct as many dollars as needed to the resources to support the districts, the students, the families, and the schools, providing wraparound services that's informed by evidence, trauma evidence based, so that we can direct the bigger piece of the pie to our students who have exceptional needs, who are learning multiple languages, making sure we're retaining quality teachers in our school districts, and making sure we have strong public education so that our students can be educated here, stay here, if they pursue higher education here, but be pipelined into jobs and roles here. As a former educator who's worked in the classroom, I understand how important it is to provide those resources. And our schools should be safe and modernized. Our facilities should be safe and modernized. Our teachers and staff need to be at the negotiating table with their unions in good faith with their employers. And I think all of those things will set our students up for a strong foundation here in Michigan where they can stay, learn, and thrive here.
Right on time. Go ahead now. The same question will go over to candidate Crystal. What policies will you propose to improve public school education performance from Detroit Public Schools to Oak Park and Royal Oak Township?
Well, thank you. As former vice president of the Oak Park School Board, who have served the students of Oak Park and Royal Oak Township, I believe in catching the students early. If we meant the policy that I would put day one would be making kindergarten mandatory. We definitely need to get our students as early as possible and provide wraparound services. I also know that as being a vice president of the school board formerly, I know that attendance is a problem. Absenteeism is a huge problem, and we can't teach the kids if they're not at school. So we definitely need to make sure that we come up with initiatives that make the kids excited about coming to school, whether we have a district-wide prize, something that keeps them engaged, something that makes them want to get to school, get on time, so that they can get the knowledge that they need. Because if they're not in class, we can't help and we can't educate. So, but my policy would be to make kindergarten mandatory. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And I'm going to stick with you, Ms. Bailey, for this next question. Please describe your connection to Detroit and how that relationship would shape your priorities and decision-making at the state level.
Well, my connection to Detroit is I was born here, raised here, okay? And that is my connection. I have definitely went to DPS schools from kindergarten or pre-K to 10th grade. And for that entire time, I am a product of Detroit Public Schools. I'm a connection to Detroit. I'm a product of the feeder system through our education system from neighborhood schools. That is my connection. And I'm proud to be from Northwest Detroit. And my connection, I'm the corresponding secretary for the Northwest Detroit Democratic Club. And I continue to advocate for the community. And that is my connection.
Thank you so much. Candidate Calloway, please describe your connection to Detroit and how that relationship would shape your priorities and decision-making at the state level.
Like I said before, I am a native Detroiter. I was born here. I was raised here. My parents are from here. My grandparents immigrated here up from the South to find better opportunities for their children. And they've instilled in us the importance of education, hard work, and giving back to your community. I bought my home here when I was 26 because I wanted to live on this side of 8 Mile, pay property taxes here, and contribute to the community that built me and set up roots here in Michigan, in Detroit. I worked in Detroit public schools because although I, thought I wanted to be a teacher after I graduated from college, what was really important to me was making sure I fully understood how Detroit public schools functioned. And you can only get that from working in the classroom. Oversight is great, but it's a different experience when you're walking into the classroom with the students, talking with the teachers and the families. A significant portion of District 5 is located in Detroit. And it's not only is it time for me to strengthen the Detroit caucus, but it's time to send more Detroiters, actual Detroiters, educators, city workers to Lansing. I know how this works. I understand budgets. I've built coalitions. And yes, I know a lot of folks know my last name. But when you see Calloway, you know exactly what you're getting. You're getting a dedicated public civil servant and a hard worker who's for the people and not just running for a job. We deserve leaders who are listening to us, who are writing priorities with us and are bringing fresh ideas and perspectives and are fighting to ensure that our voices are being heard at the decision-making table in Lansing. That's what Detroiters deserve.
Thank you so much. My next question will go to you again, Candidate Calloway. Please describe, what will you do as a leader to ensure that the majority of the harms caused by pollution and other environmental concerns do not continue to fall upon those with the fewest resources to advocate for themselves or their neighborhoods?
For me, I've worked in environmental conservation. Not only do we need to be directing more of our dollars at the state level, investments into into improving our aging infrastructure because it's causing a lot of issues, not just environmentally. There's public health impacts that come from stormwater overflows, flooding in our basement backups. There's financial costs that come with those issues. But we know we need to also be talking about holding bad actors accountable. The state of Michigan has set forth a set of really ambitious goals for clean energy and making sure that we're transitioning and modernizing our grids and our systems into the future so that Michigan can stay competitive, but also be environmentally clean and friendly. For me, it's important to also recognize that there are opportunities in rectifying the harms that have happened because of bad actors, because of lax or weak state laws around our environment. And so making sure that we are opening up economic opportunities, job opportunities, and the clean and green energy work sector is important. Those are pipelines directly from our high schools to the trades and into a new sector of employment that is giving folks an opportunity to have a livable wage, to stay here in Michigan, and to contribute to the ambitious goals that our governor has put forth. So I believe all of those things are really important to make sure we're rectifying the harms that our communities have suffered.
Thank you, Candidate Calloway. Candidate Bailey, what would you do as a leader to ensure that the majority of the harms caused by pollution and other environmental concerns do not continue to fall upon those with the fewest resources to advocate for themselves or their neighborhoods?
Thank you for the question. We have to be, as a leader, I would say no to data centers. I also would say yes to recycling because it starts at home. We have to be fiscally responsible as well because our taxes are way too high. And we would like for our leaders to understand that and to take that issue to Lansing. I mean, property taxes are driving families out of their community. And so we need a system and legislation to be set forth so that we can combat those harms from the environment that data centers will bring, the harm from not recycling as well, and being fiscally responsible, and as well as out-of-state trash. Thank you.
Thank you. I will keep you here to ask you the next question. Are there any current House bills that you strongly support? It's a two-part question. And are there any existing bills that you believe should be amended, reformed, or reconsidered?
So yes, the first part would be Hope Zone. Hope Zone is legislation that I would support. Has been currently introduced by Representative Helena Scott. Hope Zone would reinvest money back into our businesses, as well as our neighborhood businesses, as well as our neighborhoods, as well as our taxes, capturing our taxes to reinvest those dollars back in. That's where the money would come from, because we would capture the taxes and reinvest it back into the businesses and the communities. And so, second part of that question was, what would I reform? Emergency manager, hands down. I mean, we had a trifecta under our current state representative, and nothing got done. I mean, we did not get that. No one brought it up to reform of the emergency manager. That is very important, especially to Detroiters, because we don't want to go back down where we once were. Thank you.
Thank you. That question also goes to Candace Calloway. Are there any current House bills that you strongly support? And are there any existing bills that you believe should be amended, reformed, or reconsidered?
Yes, so I believe that right now we have some of the highest auto insurance rates, specifically in Detroit still. I think there was a set of bills that have been recently put forth to prevent folks from who are facing those higher rates, preventing folks from being charged with reestablishment rate fees or reinstatement fees when they have had a lapse in their insurance. And I think a ban around that is something I can definitely get behind, definitely support, because I believe that's going to keep more folks who are running into those issues with a lack of auto insurance to not be touched by the criminal justice system. But secondly, I want to talk about the NEZ and the Hope Zone legislation. So for me, it's right now, currently, we have about a 15% cap on our NEZ homesteads that we can have in our community in the city of Detroit. And so I'd like to advocate on the state level to not only increase that, but we need to be able to shift those NEZ homestead zones to other parts of the city where there's still a need. Right now it's all concentrated. I think we're at like maybe 14.7, but we're really close to the cap. And a lot of our communities have been able to reap the benefits of it. But one, I want to make sure that our Hope Zones legislation doesn't push back or cancel out any of our NEZ homesteads. But we're also able to shift those exemptions to other parts of our city so that we can help boost our neighborhoods who haven't reaped the benefits of that legislation yet.
Thank you so much. I will ask you to remain here as well so I can go into the next question for you. If elected, which House committees would you be most interested in serving on and why?
Yes. So I talked a lot about education. So for me, the standing committee focused on education and workforce development is really near and dear to me and really important to me. I also believe that being a part of the regulatory reform, I want to talk about our preemption laws and the ways that we can provide more leadership opportunities for our local communities and make sure that our local leadership can have more decision-making power. So being a part of the regulatory reform standing committee is at the top of my priority list. But the appropriations subcommittee for school aid and Department of Education, I've said it numerous times. I am really focused around our public school funding, making sure we're protecting that, codifying those protections. And so being at the decision-making table when we're talking about appropriations for our school aid funds those are those two top ones that I really would like to try to tackle and be selected for.
Thank you so much. Candidate Bailey, if elected, which House committees would you be most interested in serving on and why?
That question, I love that question because I can't wait to get there so that I can have the doors for the State House be open to the community. Because once elected, please know that I understand the job is to work for the people. I'm an employee of the people, so the doors of the State House office will be open for you, the community. I just want to get that clear. But for those, I like the committees that I like to be a part of is corrections, tax policy, insurance, economic development, and because those all, as you all know, I've been campaigning for this seat since 2 years ago. And but most recently, as in January, I've added the auto insurance and property taxes. And so that's where the economic development comes in, because we can expand the NEZ. And with the Hope Zone, you can't have both the NEZ and Hope Zone. That is what you cannot do. So there's no pushback there. But also mental health. So I mentioned creating a mental health agency. So once there, we will create a committee for such. And so just, of course, for oversight, but I would like to be a part of, I know I've given about 4 or 5, but those are all passionate to me, because every issue that I've gotten, that I've put forth before you, are all issues that I've gathered in the past 4 years, that I've been coming to this community meetings and listening to you, and I've gathered this information, and that's how I know what to run on. That's how I know what issues to research, and that's what I plan to do day one, working for you.
Thank you so much. Now we will shift over to our in-house questions. We are, again, if you all are just joining us, broadcasting from the beautiful Detroit Coffee Lounge, right here in the hood, off the Lodge.
That's my hood. Y'all can come to my house after.
We got a crowd virtually, and we have a crowd here too. So again, thank you all for joining us, and we will now shift to our questions here. All right, Candidate Bailey, I'm gonna keep you up here and ask you this next question. What is one issue you believe is relevant and pressing, but not receiving enough attention in committees? You might have gone over that already, but if there's anything more specific that you'd like to get into, feel free.
One issue would be the auto insurance. Our auto insurance, we pay way too much in auto insurance. We pay the highest auto insurance in the country. If your zip code starts with 482, you're going to be paying a high rate. And that is what I would be working on, and how I will be working on it, because I have 3 laws that I'm ready to implement day one. Right now, we have the weakest definition for what an excessive rate is. So I like to strengthen it. 2, right now we have a file and use system. I like to strengthen that by giving the insurance commissioner some authority, some leeway to be able to approve or deny. Right now there's a file and use system rather than a file, approve, and use system. Thirdly, we have an insurance commissioner. Our insurance commissioner is appointed by the governor. I think that should be an elected position. The people should elect who our insurance commissioner is. That way, the insurance commissioner will be on our side, the people's side, the consumer side, and we won't be tackled down with these high insurance rates. And I don't think it gets enough attention. I've heard on the campaign trail that they talk about it, but nothing's been done. It's not that difficult. You need to elect some aggressive lawmakers, such as myself, to get to Lansing and create laws around how insurance companies set their rates. So, thank you.
Thank you. Right on time. What is one issue, Candidate Calloway, that you believe is relevant and pressing, but not receiving enough attention in committees?
June is Gun Violence Prevention and Awareness Month. Yesterday, I was walking through the neighborhood near Oakman, and I was with some friends, and we saw police cars, state boys, all flying down the street. So I pulled out my police radio scanner and started listening, and 2 teenagers had gotten into an altercation. One of them had pulled out a gun and shot the other one. They weren't life-threatening injuries, but they were all minors, and it was really challenging to hear about happening right down the street inside of our community. So I'm a CPL holding gun owner. I understand my rights, but I also understand how heavily gun violence impacts our communities, our Black communities, our young people, our veterans who are dealing with mental health issues. We need to elect leaders who will vote to pass laws that will prevent lives from being destroyed. I think by electing more Democrats, electing more people who have been touched by gun violence, all of those are things that we need to be a part of this conversation. For me, in terms of policy, we need to strengthen the red flag laws. Our extreme risk protection order laws are supposed to ensure that our law enforcement agencies are able to implement them, but we need to make sure that they can temporarily disarm folks and intervene before situations get violent, banning ghost gun laws, banning ghost guns, and of course, requiring state licensing for folks who already have federal gun licenses. So just more restrictions around who you can sell to and how that process happens.
Thank you so much, and I will, if I may, ask you this next question. The difference between north and south of 8 Mile is palpable. What strategies will you use to bridge gaps between wealthier and less stable neighborhoods in District 5?
For me, there is clear differences between Oakland County, Royal Oak Township, Oak Park, and the city of Detroit. What is not clear or not a difference are the things that folks are concerned with. And that's our public safety, having safe community spaces where people can go worship how they please, protest how they please, play how they please, learn and educate one another how they please, focus on our students, how we prioritize them, their ability to have something safe to do during the summers, to be able to work, our access to jobs, and our leadership, being able to trust them, being able to know that they're acting with our best interest, within our best interests and with integrity. Those things don't make us different. And so if we are electing leaders with that have those goals at the forefront of their mind and when they're making decisions, we have the ability to have our whole community across District 5 rise together. There are issues that Detroiters deal with that are different than Oakland County folks deal with, and we know that. But that's where you go and you listen. You build a strong partnership with their leaders. You help make sure that you're equipping them from the state level to make decisions how they please, to spend their tax dollars how they please, to enact ordinances and laws that are tailored to the unique communities that they're a part of. All of those things will help bridge the gap between the counties.
Thank you so much. I will shift that same question over to Candidate Bailey and ask again. The difference between north and south of 8 Mile is palpable. What strategies will you use to bridge gaps between wealthier and less stable neighborhoods in District 5?
Thank you for the question. Being the only candidate on the ballot that has lived on both sides of 8 Mile, I understand all three communities, from Oak Park, Royal Oak Township, and Northwest Detroit. Like I said, I'm rooted in this community. I helped draw these lines. I fought really hard so that we could be Oak Park, Royal Oak, and Northwest Detroit from the redistricting. And the issues aren't that hard. It's not that hard. The issues are the same, and what needs to happen is expanding the NEZ, expanding the neighborhood enterprise zone across 8 Mile and to other areas within Northwest Detroit. We can help with the main issue that I hear from both sides of 8 Mile is property taxes. I mean, 1994 Proposal A was a Band-Aid. So in 1994, the issues that are happening today with the high property taxes, it was the same issue in 1994. But what those legislators did was put a Band-Aid over it. And it helped for that time being because it capped them. But what it didn't do for us, the new homeowners that's coming in, the taxes get uncapped. And that's when we pay these higher rates. That's when home ownership becomes that much more difficult to be able to afford. I'm a product of that myself. The uncapping of the property taxes, my mortgage increased almost $400. So to help with that, we can expand the neighborhood enterprise zone.
Thank you. I'll keep you here to answer this next question. We have one last question from our in-house audience here. And then I do have a question from our virtual end. So I'll ask you, Candace Bailey, what gives you hope in these chaotic times?
What gives me hope? I'm a God-fearing woman. Uh, I've gotten through some hard times. Being a mother, I mentioned before, you guys know I have a 19-year-old daughter, and from 13 to 16, it wasn't so easy being a single parent, raising her. She was a runaway. She ran away from home sometimes, and then just trying to be get the resources as a parent. It definitely took some. It wasn't there. The youth assistance, there was no help there. There was no one to go to. So when we talk about these teen takeovers and going after the parents and making the parents pay fines, uh, I don't always agree with that, because I was one of those parents that was outside knocking doors looking for my child. And there were some parents out there that say, "Oh, you good looking for yours." I've been looking. I'm not looking for mine. So their child was missing too. So from 13 to 16, that time was a very challenging time. But I'm then thought about my daughter and went somewhere else with this. But I think to answer the question, and I don't want to have you repeat it because I'm probably over my time. But
What gives you
oh, hope. I'm a God-fearing woman, and I got through that. Yes, I got through that. Yes, she is in her first year of college at University of Detroit Mercy, and so I know that God will get us through this. We are in a hard time right now, from the federal government and from voting rights. We definitely have to have some hard times, but hope is definitely faith in the Lord. Thank you.
I appreciate it. That same question is going to now be asked to Candace Calloway. What gives you hope in these chaotic times?
The foundation of my campaign has been to lead with hope. I'm a millennial. I thought I did everything right. I went to college. I got educated. I lived up to the expectations of my grandparents, my family, my parents, my friends, and it has not been enough. But I believe that we are still in a good place. I believe that I come from a strong foundation. I come from a legacy and a family full of public servants, folks who are committed to bettering a community in whatever way they can, leaving it better than they found it. I'm a learner. I'm willing to educate others. And my hope comes from all of these, if you can see all of these people that are behind me, the students that I've worked with, the organizations that I've started, the businesses that I've run, the nonprofits that I volunteered with, the service that I put into Detroit that has shaped me, that has led me to this place. I was not led by another politician. I was not led by my parents. I was led by my faith and being committed to a goal, to a vision for what I see for my future. And that's what gives me hope, that we can continue to work towards that we can partner with others, negotiate with them, bring back resources for a community to all rise together. I call it a level like water. Water doesn't rise in a staircase. It all rises together at the same rate. And so that's what we need to keep as our goal and our focus so that we can all rise together.
Thank you. And let me ask you now this question. What would your plans be? What would your plans be for your first 60 days in office?
Yes. So for me, the first 60 days, I already see it. You have to learn the procedures, learn how the rules work. That's important. But for me, building coalitions is going to be so important and vital, and relationships with leadership, with existing legislators that are already there, with the opposition. For me, specifically building a stronger Detroit caucus is important. So building relationships with those folks, all of that will help me navigate. Engaging heavily with constituents, making sure that I set up a central location in the district, that I'm working with folks from my community, from my district, not from Lansing. I want folks who are homegrown and live here in District 5 to be building a strong team with me. I want to be available to address community and constituent concerns as early as possible, because that's how we're going to write our priorities together. That's how we're going to write our legislation and build our budgets together. I'm not bringing another agenda with me to Lansing, I have to write one with the constituents, with community members in District 5. So it's important to have an open door and be available to them. But then I'll just be working to get selected for that standing committee, regulatory reform, and then making sure that I get selected for the appropriations subcommittee, for the school aid and Department of Education, so I can hit the ground running, making sure that we're pushing for our weighted school funding formula and making sure that we are trying our best to repeal local preemption and giving folks more options for leadership.
Thank you. That same question will now be asked to candidate Bailey. What are your plans for the first 60 days in office?
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that question. First 60 days, I got to get there. So I need your vote. Please vote Crystal Bailey August 4th so that I can get to the legislature so I can work for you. Day one, I'm going to build the relationships within Lansing because we can't pass any laws without getting 5620 and a governor's signature. And that is getting 56 people in the House to vote with you and 20 in the Senate to vote with you, and then a governor's signature so that we can pass law. And I like to introduce two bills. So I got an insurance bill, three of them I mentioned to you already, and then I have a gun violence to eradicate gun violence, which are going after the manufacturers, the Smith and Wessons, the Glocks, going after the manufacturers. They are making these guns way too easy, where a 9-year-old can make a handgun, an automatic gun, which are war weapons, and they don't deserve to be in our community. So we need to go after the gun manufacturers financially and criminally, and also the insurance and the gun violence. And I have another bill. I've already done the research. Like I said, I've been listening to you all. I've gotten these issues from you. I didn't just start working on these issues. I've been researching these issues over the past 2.5 years. So I have legislation for gun violence, auto insurance, and property taxes. And that my first 60 days will be focusing on introducing those and building a relationship to get the votes forward.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That was our chat question. I have a question. I have two. My first question is, if you know me, you know I am big on health and wellness. I think it's very important, particularly during the election times and so forth, that you have to implement self-care. You should take care of yourself. What are you doing, candidate Bailey, to ensure that you are healthy and well enough? And, are you practicing self-care while you were out here campaigning? And, because we need to make sure that we have a healthy state representative, to represent us, because health is wealth. So are you doing the things that you need to do to ensure you're healthy enough for us?
Maia, that's a very caring, thoughtful question. Thank you. Being vice chair of the Behavioral Health Advisory Council, I know the importance of self-care. You have to take care of your mind before anything else can happen, because your mind is what makes your body move physically. So breathing helps me. Breathing is important, getting that oxygen to your brain so that you can go out and interact with different people. Interacting with all of these people that we come in contact with on the daily is draining. So we definitely need to keep that motivation. We can't lead with hope. We have to lead with action, and we have to take care of ourselves. The self-care comes from breathing, and I don't have a lot of time to cook because I'm out and about knocking doors. So what I do, I'm juicing. That definitely helps me tremendously, and having my smoothies as well. I have me a big dinner after I'm done, so maybe one meal a day, but I definitely juicing and smoothing, and definitely the mental exercising, making sure that I'm breathing, getting the oxygen to my mind so that I can be ready and interact with all of the constituents of District 5. Thank you for being so caring and thoughtful for that.
Yes, of course. And that same question will go to you, candidate Calloway. Are you making sure you are doing the right things and practicing self-care so that you can best represent us in the community?
Yes, that's a very good question. So I'm sure you all have seen, I've been drinking my water, just so I can stay hydrated. But I pray. I'm asking God to lead my steps. I feel that He led me to run for office is part of the reason that I'm doing this. And so making sure that I am taking the time to meditate and hear from Him is important. I am also a hiker. Like I said before, I go out in the outdoors. So taking walks around District 5, around my neighborhood, is really important to me, not just so I understand and meeting the neighbors and the residents, but also so that I can take a look at the physical neighborhood. So I report lots of blight. I'm that person that you're going to see taking a photo of a pile of blight that's to report to Improve Detroit. And all of that comes from getting outside, getting into the fresh air and walking. For me, it's also important to make sure that I am talking with my loved ones. I've met so many amazing mentors, built strong relationships, and gotten really good advice about what it's like to run for office, what's important to keep in mind if you want to legislate. And so talking with those folks on a regular basis, telling them the truth, being honest about this process and this experience has been really helpful for my mental health. I don't see talking to people as draining. For me, it's energizing. I believe that it allows me to learn more about the community that I'm from because I don't know every corner of this district, but the people who are from these communities, they understand it intimately. And so going out and talking to them is really important, making that connection.
Okay, thank you so much. I do have one more question, but I will hold that and ask one final question I was just given from this audience here. Do my best. And I will stick with you, candidate Calloway. What do you think of values, morals that are being taught in school, starting from preschool, all throughout schools, respect of others, kindness, forgiveness, gratitude, sharing, self-respect. And how do you deal with stress through meditation?
So I meditate, I pray, I try to read my Bible and try to make sure that I quiet myself, regulate my nervous system so I can hear what the universe, what God, what source is trying to tell me. But I have strong morals. I was raised, like I said, in a family and from a legacy where we value commitment to hard work, dedication to our neighbors, to our community members, to our family. We take care of our vulnerable, our students, our seniors, those who are ill. I believe in acting with integrity and in courage, and acting with courage. I believe that those are the skills of a strong leader. But also it's about building relationships, being able to connect with people, being able to reach across the aisle and find something that you can identify with someone else to make them feel comfortable, to be able to open up, because there are a lot of hard things happening out in the world right now. And so we need leadership, and just more neighbors who come from strong moral backgrounds, who don't steal, who don't lie, who don't do things that are disingenuous, or self-promoting. And that's not how I was raised, and that's not how I'll raise my children, and not how I plan to be a leader for District 5, because we deserve more. We deserve hope. We deserve strong leadership, and we deserve integrity, courage, and commitment to the issues that we're dealing with the most.
Thank you so much.
Taking a whole seat with it.
Candidate Bailey, I will shift this same question to you. Let me read it again for you. What do you think of values and morals being taught in school, starting at preschool, all throughout schools? Respect of others, kindness, forgiveness, gratitude, sharing, self-respect. And how do you deal with stress through meditation?
So thank you for the question. How I deal with stress is definitely breathing, stopping and breathe intentionally, paying attention to breathing. We do it without thinking, so it's effortless, just breathing. But if we do it with intention, we would. It definitely helps calm the nerves, the mind, and that's something from in school. What we made sure that wellness day, we definitely take a day for wellness day, making sure that the students have time to reset, making sure that students understand that stress will come, but we need to know how to deal with it. And we need leadership that understands that as well. Integrity is everything. And all of those other key points that you hit on are very important. I'm informed, I'm sincere, and I'm capable. I am from a mother who is not a politician. She is a well, not a public servant. She's a medical, worked in the medical field all my life. She worked at Sinai. She worked at Sinai Grace when they merged. And she was forced to retire during COVID in 2020. And then my father, he's a veteran from the U.S. Army as well as a entrepreneur all my life. But he passed away in 2012 with prostate cancer. But I understand the importance. I am informed, I'm capable and sincere, and I'm ready to work for you as the state rep of District 5. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That
Can I say something?
questions from this audience. This is my next question to the both of you. Crystal, I will start with you. If you are unable to get elected, will you support your opponents? Fully support.
Are you talking to me?
Yes, Candace Calloway.
Okay, you're frozen on my screen. Can you repeat the question?
Yes, if you are unable to be elected, will you fully support your candidate, the winner of the election?
You know, what I've learned over my years of campaigning since 2018, there's no friends or enemies, just issues. And we need to focus on the issues. And if those issues align, then absolutely. Because it's not about me. It's about the issues, it's about the community and what the community wants done. And so to answer your question, as long as the issues align, I have no problem with supporting what the community wants because I'm done with politics. None of us want politics as usual. We need an aggressive lawmaker that's going to get the job done, who's ready to deliver day one with integrity, honesty, and the love and the willingness to do the groundwork as a grassroots person for the community.
Thank you. If you are unable to be elected, will you fully support your opponents, the winner of the election, candidate Calloway?
Yes, despite what has been matriculating across this district, the seat is not entitled. No one is entitled to this seat. No amount of time running for it, no amount of time sitting in it, no amount of political friends or advocates is going to entitle anyone to this seat. It has to be earned and it belongs to the people. So of course, if the people's voice, whichever way it leans in, this is my community too. I'm from this district. I would be supportive of that. I think the community should be trusted because they've made their intentions known election after election after election, what direction they want to head in, what way they want to go, and who they want to be their leadership. And so I trust my neighbors. Just like I trust myself, our vote is our power. And we continue to exercise that, especially here in District 5. There's been a lot of talks about mothers. And about who we feel like we should support and who we feel like folks are tied to. For me, I believe that with this seat in a position like this and with the unique challenges that our district and our state is dealing with, we should be making sure that we remember exactly what it is when we see these names. There's a lot of baggage and attachment that goes into a name. I have learned that from knocking the doors across this district. But when you see the name Calloway, there are a few things that pop into your mind: commitment, hard work, public service, and dedication. You don't hear about conflicts or issues or challenges that folks have had in their personal relationships when you hear the last name Calloway. And you can't say that across this race and across this district. And so I think it's important to protect that and promote that connection and relationship. So I would be willing to support anything that my neighbors and community members would vote in favor of and be supportive of, because that's what leadership is. It's relational, it's by side, and it's not by leading from the front, pushing by force, cronyism, bullying, or bad mouthing. It would all be in love and in support.
Thank you so much. That concludes this portion of our program. We will now shift over to our closing remarks. The both of you will have 1 minute for your closing remarks, and we will start with you, candidate Calloway.
Absolutely. So again, in closing, I just want to say thank you again. San Bernardo, I have learned so much from this board, from this community, from their leadership. And so I appreciate you all continuing to be engaged, continuing to educate each other. President Bauman, I appreciate you all for putting this together. I'm the candidate in this race that's been endorsed by the incumbent Regina Weiss, the Oak Park mayor, the pro temp in Oak Park. Run for Something, Supervisor Squalls in Royal Oak Township, IBEW, Local 58, AFSCME, the Northern Midwest Regional Council of Carpenters, some strong labor support, folks who believe that they can align with my values, and that I'll be there representing them and being their voice in Lansing. But prominent ones on the Detroit side as well, the Black Slate, Fannie Lou Hamer, entities that have empowered Black leadership, introduce emerging young leaders, not only to local politics, but at the state level as well. And so having their support and their wind at my wings is really important. So vote Candace Calloway on August 4th for state representative in District 5.
Thank you. Your 1 minute closing remarks are up for you, Miss Candidate Crystal Bailey.
Thank you for this. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm here to serve, and I've been here to serve. And I don't get a big budget to serve. And with currently the way I've been serving the capacity of the community, I'm working out of my own pockets. I stand up and be the chair of committees, and I used my dollar. And over the past 2.5 years, the cleanups, I use my dollars to help with that. And I love doing so. I'm here to serve. Service is in my heart. Like I mentioned, my father served in the United States Army. So I understand the importance of serving and being an advocate. And I've been personally attacked during this campaign, which just comes out of just the fact that I've been running. How can you attack somebody for the tenacity that have them to continue to run to serve? I don't know, but somehow you can turn something into negative, and that's not what I'm about. Negativity, I go the opposite way. During this campaign, I know the importance is the community. I know the importance is the.
Sorry about that. Time is up, but thank you so much, Candidate Bailey. I would like to give a huge thank you to our association president, Ms. Bridget Bowman, for putting this together with your hands. Also, Mr. Alvin Alston, also known as the man, for being our tech guru. I'd like to thank Ms. Tika Ganaway for her beautiful establishment. I am going to, try to get as much coffee as I can today. And at the Detroit Coffee Lodge, and she staffed this today for us, and it's just been a fantastic event here on this beautiful Friday evening. And finally, most importantly, I would like to thank you all, the audience, for joining us and being so engaged in this important discussion for our next leader. Our next virtual community meeting will be on September 18th, so please stay tuned for more details about that. And I am a proponent of self-care, so make sure you all are staying hydrated. And I hope that you all have a wonderful rest of your evening. Stay blessed. Peace.
Thank you.
Thank you.